Be honest with yourself for a second here. Have you felt your ability to concentrate literally slipping away lately? Do you sit down to tackle a major project only to find yourself inexplicably scrolling through social media or refreshing your inbox just 5 minutes later? Look, you're not alone, and your brain isn't broken, but it is under attack. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're skipping the usual pleasantries because your attention is your absolutely most valuable asset, and right now, it's being stolen. This in-deep work summary is not just an overview of a brilliant text by Cal Newport, it's a literal survival guide for the modern economy. If you're serious about self-improvement and personal growth, what we're about to cover will radically alter how you operate. 60%. Okay, let that number really sink in for a minute. According to a pretty shocking McKinsey study, the average knowledge worker wastes over 60% of their work week on electronic communication and internet searching. 60%. That means the vast majority of your week is likely hijacked by pings, dings, and notifications. We're all just spinning our wheels, completely exhausting ourselves, but producing very little of actual meaningful value. Section 1. The Modern Distraction Trap. We have to understand exactly how we felt into the cult of the internet, where exhausting busyness has somehow become a proxy for actual productivity. So here's the core battle of this book summary: deep work versus shallow work. Deep work is professional activity performed in a state of absolute distraction-free concentration. It pushes your cognitive limits to their max, it creates brand new value, and frankly, it's incredibly hard to replicate. Shallow work, on the flip side, consists of non-cognitively demanding logistical tasks. Like answering routine emails while you're half watching a video. Anyone can do it. But here is the terrifying warning from Cal Newport. Spending too much time in the shallows doesn't just waste your day. It permanently reduces your brain's capacity to go deep. It actually rewires your brain for the worse. Section 2, the superpower of focus. Let's dive into the deep work hypothesis, why focus is becoming incredibly rare at the exact moment it's becoming astronomically valuable for success. Take a guy named Jason Ben, for example. He was a financial consultant who basically realized his job was so shallow it could literally be replaced by a simple Excel script. He was spending 98% of his time just surfing the web. But he decided to change his life. He locked himself in a room with just textbooks, zero internet, and forced himself into a personal deep work boot camp. By cultivating absolute focus, he mastered a highly difficult skill, computer programming, and completely transformed his career, landing a six-figure developer job in Silicon Valley. It's proof that cultivating focus allows you to master hard things quickly. It's a real game changer. And to understand how he did it, consider this formula from Adam Grant, one of the youngest full professors at Wharton. High-quality work produced equals time spent multiplied by the intensity of focus. Grant batches his hard intellectual work into long, uninterrupted stretches. Why? Well, because of a super dangerous psychological concept called attention residue. Every single time you switch from a hard task to just, quickly check an email, a sticky residue of your attention stays trapped on that inbox. This severely dampens your cognitive performance when you return to your project. Intense focus eliminates that residue completely. Section 3, Rule 1, Work deeply. You might think you just need to try harder, but willpower is a finite resource. We have to rely on strict routines instead. To build routines that actually work, Newport outlines 4 distinct philosophies of deep work. The ultimate goal here is to design an environment like a eudaimonia machine, a space explicitly built for human flourishing. First is the monastic approach, which is extreme. You isolate yourself completely and eliminate all shallow obligations. Then there's the bimodal approach, which divides your time into clear stretches. Legendary psychologist Carl Jung actually used this when he built a stone tower in the woods to retreat for deep thinking, while still keeping up his clinical practice in the city. The rhythmic approach builds a simple, regular daily habit, like writing every single morning at 5 a.m. And finally, the journalistic approach involves diving into deep work whenever a gap in your schedule randomly opens up. You just have to pick the philosophy that actually fits your life. Okay, so once you pick your philosophy, you need to execute it like a literal business. Newport borrows this amazing framework called the 4 disciplines of execution. Instead of vague goals, you need wildly important targets. But step 2 is the absolute magic key. Act on the lead measures. You see, a lag measure is the final result, like publishing a paper. A lead measure is the behavior you actually control right now, which is the total time you spend in deep work. Keep a physical scoreboard tracking those deep work hours and review it weekly. Treat your focus like the absolute most vital metric of your personal business. Section 4, rewire your distracted brain. Because you can't just schedule deep work. You have to train your mind for it by doing something really uncomfortable. embracing boredom. A massive part of this mindset shift involves how we handle technology. Most of us use the any benefit approach to social media and digital tools. We tell ourselves, well, I might connect with an old friend, or I might see a funny meme, basically justifying endless scrolling for tiny random benefits. Newport empowers us to adopt the craftsman approach. A true craftsman only adopts a tool if its positive impacts substantially outweigh the negatives. You have to be ruthless. Evaluate your digital habits against your actual life goals. And here is the ultimate test: 30 days. Newport proposes a 30-day social media detox. Now, don't announce it, don't make a big post about leaving, don't even delete your accounts. Just log off completely for one full month. After 30 days, ask yourself a hard question. Was my life significantly worse? Did anyone actually care that I was gone? Doing this breaks the fear of missing out. It forces you to realize that these platforms are often just lightweight whimsy, engineered to steal your attention and, frankly, your potential. Section 5. Drain the shallow work. We have to clear out the brush to make room for depth, and that means ruthlessly cutting low-value tasks. Take the software company 37 Signals, for example. They experimented with a 4-day work week. And what happened? People became incredibly stingy with their time, and all the useless, bloated meetings just vanished. But how do you know what's shallow and what's deep in your own daily grind? Ask yourself this one simple, incredibly powerful question. How many months would it take to train a smart, recent college grad to do this specific task? If you're just formatting a PowerPoint or sending out a calendar invite, the answer is a few weeks, right? That's shallow work. But if you're coding a new algorithm or writing a complex strategy, that takes years of expertise. That is deep work. You have to bias your entire schedule toward the latter. To actually force this prioritization, implement fixed schedule productivity. I'm talking about a firm 5:30 p.m. cutoff. Newport highly recommends setting a strict, non-negotiable end to your workday. By creating a hard stop, you force a scarcity mindset. When your hours are strictly limited, you suddenly become ruthlessly efficient. You start saying no to trivial requests. You stop lingering in the shallows. You organize your day perfectly to ensure the deep work actually gets done before the clock runs out. No excuses. Section 6. The focused life. So, what does the transformation actually look like when you master these habits and finally cure your addiction to distraction? Well, the ultimate proof of this framework's power is Cal Newport's own academic output. Early in his career, he published about 2 peer-reviewed papers a year. Pretty standard. But when he recommitted to deep work and built these strict routines, that doubled to 4. And during his extreme depth year, where he rigorously applied every single rule we just talked about, he published 9 peer-reviewed papers in a single year. 9. And the craziest part? He did all this while writing a book, and he still shut down his work every single evening by 5:30 to rest and spend time with his family. That is the incredible power of working deeply, not just working longer. All right, let's lock in these main lessons. Here are the key ideas from this explainer. First, remember that deep work is incredibly rare and overwhelmingly valuable in today's world. Second, shallow work isn't just a harmless waste of time, it actively destroys your cognitive capacity over time. Third, your willpower is limited. You absolutely must use structure and routines to liberate your focus. Fourth, boredom is not your enemy. It is a powerful, necessary training tool for your brain. And finally, be ruthless with your tools. Apply a true craftsman's mindset to your technology. We've covered a ton of ground today, stripping away the noise to find what truly drives elite success. Because deep work isn't just about getting more stuff done. It's about crafting a life of meaning and profound accomplishment. These are the life lessons that change everything. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final deeply important question. When you finally strip away the endless scrolling, the constant notifications, and the trivial busyness, what will you create when you finally focus? Take that thought with you today and start building your deep life.